Now there's a thought. I can go to Copperbell Mines. I just got to remember how to get there. Oh my god, there are other mines. I forgot about that. There's 2, maybe 3 different mines. Because there was one. Yeah. There's a mines on the main map. Just as you come out. Because that would be the main source of materials for your miner. You'd actually set off into the mines to try and get things. Wow, the things that you think that you forget over time, and it's just sat there waiting for you to go hear that specific word, and then bing, it all comes back. Oh, right, is it here? There's an atholite. I can't remember if there was a town or a settlement around it. Let's just have a quick look, because it would be at the bottom here. Interesting. Hands-free gaming. Gotta love it. Now, I think there was a couple of people here. But that was it. It was probably just a chocobo and a couple of people by the, what would have been the crystal. So we're going up there. And again, it's bringing back memories of job class quests that I've did in the past, because up there was Black Mage, if I remember correctly. Certainly has a different feel. It's weird. There's the moon. Maybe it'll be daytime by the time I get out of the mines. How could I forget that the game had mines? Because those were like the equivalent of world dungeons, as in normally there was a load of mobs in there, yes, but there was also normally what we called a notorious monster. Now, a notorious monster was one of the regular monsters that had been souped up into a higher class. So if you're a WoW player, it would be like an elite. But the only catch is it had a timer on how often it would respawn. Other notorious monsters would have weather conditions for them to spawn and things like that. But normally the respawn timers on notorious monsters could range anywhere from, in real time, 15 minutes all the way up to about 21 hours. Oh yeah. That just looks like someone sneezed. But yeah, this place would have been flooded with lots of people mining. Am I going to come across closed doors? So I think this would have been the local crystal. So you could set your home point here just in case you died. Yeah. That's got a set of stairs. Oh yeah, that's right. Next map, please. Yeah, that's right. These places were huge. I think this was the last mine that my miner had got into, because I decided to come back to the game a month or two before the game got shut down, because I'd heard the fact that they'd made a story about why the servers were shutting down, as in a lore perspective. So I kind of wanted to see what they did with that entire concept. So I think I was about level 37. So when I came back, I had to not only just do from 37 to 50, I also had to unlock the paladin job and get all the artifact gear. I won't talk about gear this time because that's an entire other discussion. But yeah, the short version is I really don't like levels. Oh my god. There's a dungeon in 2.0 where there's sand and you run through it, and one of the bosses you have to fight, and when it goes under the sand you have to go and stand on all the rocks. They used this as a template. Holy crap. That's why I was getting other familiar vibes from it. I've tanked through a dungeon that looked like this. Wow. So that's base, which probably means in Grandia there's probably going to be underground dungeons that you can just walk into that are just like Hatai? No, Tam Tam. Jesus. The stuff you just don't think about. So, I'm aiming for the other set of stairs, because I never noticed how there was a long tunnel that's fairly straightish before. Second right, it's kind of trying to tell me, is it? Crazy. Okay, what else? Yeah. So if we go up here, that's right, because the dungeon that's underneath Luminasa that I'm on about that I spent hours getting lost in, that ended up getting converted into a dungeon as well, which is the first dungeon you unlock, Salastashtashtashti thing with the pirates. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, I'm not going to find out. I'm guessing that that glowy thing would have been interactable. Or not. It could just be colourful. Wait a minute. It's saying there's another way into that section. I mean, I definitely do recognise that there is a phrase called looking at things with rose-tinted glasses. But... and I know that Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 got a lot of flack in regards to its copy-paste approach. But at the same time, I just think that they was... it's kind of what I think has happened with Star Citizen, where they had a much larger design scope than what they initially went for. Okie doke. That's a one-way, so that's all in regards to a mission. Does that mean if I go this way I can drop down? No? Ooh. No. Trying to get my head around the place again. So we can't go that way. Can go this way. Yep, that's right. Just keep getting flashes of people in here mining, people in here doing levies, people in some sections in parties killing mobs way higher than themselves to get really nice experience points. Yeah. No. Yes, this way. I mean, I can see what they did is they took the idea of Copperbell Mines and they turned it literally into an instance dungeon. But it actually being a location, to me, is far more interesting. That's one thing you never get used to with 1.0. Working out the things that you can and cannot run over due to angles. But hey ho. Oh, I just came to a door, didn't I? Okay, back it up. So, back the way I came. Dun, 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 dun. That goes under, which is not what I want. Go back this way. Cut the hair. Definitely. It's weird. I mean, I understand that companies have got to keep on pushing development of game, and games have got to be profitable, but at the same time, with our new era of games and our always online system and get new content being added and games being rebalanced, you can only really play a single player game in the original form that it was on the disc if you don't connect it to the internet. And you're just gonna... game preservation's gonna get harder and harder. I mean, if you now get a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360, drop in, turn off the internet and drop in Mass Effect 3, and you'll be playing Mass Effect 3 as it was released, with no patches or anything like that. It'll also mean that you don't get the director's cut of the game, which is meant to fix the ending. But which version of the game should be preserved? And that's going to be the quandary that we're going to end up having. Because you can't really... I don't think you can buy a director's cut disc version of Mass Effect 3. So if at some point, say, EA stops DLC content from being downloaded on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, which a lot of people will be going, yeah, but that's like not now, ain't got to worry about. But it is something that's going to happen. They can't keep the services on forever. At the end of the day, it's all data taking up space that they're having to pay for, and the chances of that actually being accessed is getting more and more unlikely. So it's going to get to a point where we cannot play the games how we knew them. Wow, am I doing a Keith and just meandering on topics, letting my brain just go where it wants to? But yeah, I mean, for us right now, we don't really think about it, because to us at the moment, our idea of retro gaming are games that were on floppy disks, games that were on cartridges, games that were on CDs, and that's all simple media. But when you start looking at Blu-ray disc as a storage medium, you're then starting to look at the realm of anything from a couple of gig all the way up to 50 gig in size. I don't know what the largest size game on PlayStation 3 was. I definitely know that one of them, one particular game, pushed the limit because they had to do a dual layer Blu-ray disc to be able to fit all the data on board of the game. I mean, heck, you can look at it in the fact of, was it Final Fantasy XIII? That came on... No, Blue Dragon. No, that didn't get on PS3, so... Yeah, it'd be something like Final Fantasy XIII, where it's a couple of discs on 360, but one disc on PlayStation 3. But game consoles like the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, I do not see how we are going to be able to preserve those games for future generations. Because, yeah, you can play them on a PlayStation 5, but again, that's Sony's plan for the next couple of months. It's not Sony's plan forever. I mean, the PlayStation 2, a lot of people don't sort of realise, but that game actually had updates. But you needed the hard drive expansion, which was never released in the EU. So the updates were not a common thing to actually happen in a game. But with the PlayStation 3 generation, where hard drives became standard, updates became more and more frequent and common. And now it's a given that, like, I like to buy some of the games I let's play physical, like Ghosts of Tsushima. But when it comes to it, when I inserted that disc, as soon as I inserted it, it went, wait, even though you got the disc, I need to copy it on the hard drive, and I also need to download an update. It's definitely going to prove an interesting thing, what happens with the game industry. I mean, yeah, I don't... At the moment, there is only 3 console manufacturers, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, and I don't see them folding, but at the same time, how long are they prepared to keep software up? Legacy for players. I mean, I did an experiment a little while ago, and I know that I can still purchase PlayStation Portable games for my PlayStation Portable off the PlayStation Network. But there's got to be a point where they go, right, okay, our store's getting over encumbered, we're getting so much, let's start taking things down. And that's another thing, is you do get some games, I mean, I've got a couple on my PC, that if I actually uninstall them, I won't be able to uninstall them again. Not uninstall, I won't be able to install them again. It's just a lot of things about the gaming industry hasn't quite been thought out yet, and it's something I'd like to keep an eye on, something I like to think about, and game preservation is one of them things. Okay, I think I'm gonna go and pay a visit to the Silver Bazaar, because I can hear them overhead. There they are. Ooh, baddies. But like I say, changing topic again, my aim is kind of, with this, to chop about this, what I'm streaming, and upload into parts onto YouTube, into sections. Hopefully I can actually work out a good place to cut stuff. Because I do want to go through these maps. I do want to sort of look at the things that I probably never took the time before to take in. Because yes, I can get this working now, but will I be able to get it working in 5 years' time? But at the same time, perhaps they could have it working better at the same time so I could actually fight stuff. But the issue with that entire side of it is you do need the original code from Square Enix, because all the software that I'm doing is emulating code in regards to packet information on my location. It can't really pass what I'm actually doing in the world, which is why I can't interact with things, doors don't open, and so forth. I do believe this Project Meteor has been in this state for this level of it for a couple of years now. And when I was looking at the updates on the source code, that has been updated 2 or 3 months ago, so there is still people working trying to get this thing to more functionality. And people have, I keep seeing articles, because, you know, I've been searching for Final Fantasy XIV stuff, and not only 2.0 but 1.0, and there are people who have been asking the current director, you know, there's a WoW Legacy server, couldn't you do a Final Fantasy 1.0? And the current director just is not wanting to consider such an idea, because he's not prepared to work with the game in the state that he inherited the game, as to say. He saw it better to just strip down and start again. So this is one of the more established settlements, so I think it's about once an hour or once every 2 hours you'd get a notification that a force of enemies will be descending on, like, this place or a couple of other places, and you'd have the time to get over there, get geared up, and then register yourself into defending the place. And basically you would then try and, with your party, secure the entrances, as it was a wave-based system, and there was loot boxes and NPCs, and you got a better score for less damage done to the items and damage not done to the NPCs. Did give you access to some nice gear options, and it also gave you the credits for, like, Immortal Flames or Twin Adder, all those sort of things. But yeah, I think both that location up there won't be very interesting, because that was job related. I know that much. Well, at least you can tell when I mute the mic, the map appears on the screen. You should really change it from the M key for PC games. Just thought as we're doing a nice long run, I would relight my cigarette and hope that tomorrow it's a little bit cooler, because it's hot here today. This is the second attempt that I had at trying to get a Project Meteor server working, but I did it, last time I did it, it was, I could get it to load, but that was a couple of years ago. But as soon as I tried moving, after 60 seconds, if you see, there's like a green circle flashing at the top right, which is send and receive. That would go to 0 and 0. Then after another 25 seconds, it'd go orange from green. Then another 25 seconds, it'd go red. And then 10 seconds after that, it'd go disconnected from server. So I must have done a better job in setting this all up this time. I definitely know that there was a couple of bits that I did different, even though the instructions were the same. I think I had a better understanding of what I was doing this time round. Let's see. Okay, nope. Gotta go round here because we can't jump up that ledge. No jump button. Up we go. Oh, that's keeping it sensible. I did a little trial earlier today in regards to how this would do recording. And basically I have an interesting recording setup on my PC because H.264, which is a common codec that people use for recording, is kind of designed optimally to run at 1080. It can encode at higher resolution, but if you have a dedicated chip, it'll be pushing it. So I record a different way. I actually use a H.265 encoder on my AMD GPU, because that's more optimized for 4K. So when I'm doing a recording, rather on H.264, it running at about 90% usage on the GPU, not the 3D side, the encoder side, for high quality, I get to be able to have my GPU doing 1080 recording at the same quality as 1080 H.264, but it's only running at 40% capacity, so it's doing less work, which means it's got more wiggle room to focus on keeping the detail there. So for that reason, I kind of ran this up to try and do a test recording, and basically I have it set to try and make a local backup that's the equivalent of Blu-ray specification at 60 frames per second. And when I was running around outside here, like here, it was trying to splat down at about 200,000 KB per second. And I don't know if anyone's into maths or not, but that's a lot of data per second. So for, I think it was about a 7-minute recording, it ended up being about 16 gig in size. So just for this, I've decided to reduce the quality of my local recording, because I don't want it to... It's a side project, it's not too serious. I'm doing this more for me and posterity, so people can see the old game can still run on modern hardware, even if you're trying to emulate the servers in the background. That could be quite interesting. But yeah, that's Camp Bullfrog up there, which if anyone's in 2.0, that looks completely different to what you know, because in that location you are more open, whereas that's a lot more twiddly bits. But what I actually want to do is follow the road for a bit. Got AC on, so it keeps putting my cigarette out. So annoying. Yeah, we're gonna go on a trip. It's the right sort of time of day to do this run. It is quite literally a run as well, which is the worrying bit. Anything else? So yes, obviously you know in 2.0 you have free companies. They did not exist in 1.23. You only had link shells. Free companies is what 1.23 was trying to, well, 1.2 was trying to build toward. So it would allow the idea was it would allow people to band together on their own projects. That's where the entire idea of getting a load of crafters together and being able to make your own airship for your free company came from, and things like that. A lot of the things that you see in the housing was conceptually in this version of the game that they wanted to follow through with. But that's the one thing that I think they got wrong on both 1.0 and 2.0 is the housing. A lot of people are coloured by their initial game that they play to get them into MMORPGs, and for the mass population they will probably turn around and you'll get a lot of people that say it was WoW. There'll probably be a few people that would come after that would probably be EverQuest or EverQuest 2. I was actually in my first MMORPG was Final Fantasy XI, and basically right off the bat, as soon as you got into your main city, you was given a residence, and you could straight away put pot plants in your residence and grow seeds and water them and grow your own plants to make your own stuff to farm. So I always found it frustrating that they never ever did something like that in 1.0, and the way that they ended up doing it in 2.0, and their reasoning is, if I remember the line right, it's storage capacity, which is why they've gone for these zones full of houses that free companies can buy. And that's nice and all, but it would still be nice if at my own inn I could decorate it in my own way, rather than having the things lumped in there that, you know, they feel that I should have, like the summoning bell or the hair salon dude or the organ thing that plays lots of music.